Hello, everybody, welcome. Rose a psych investigator, hello, everybody, welcome. Rose a psych investigator. So, so I had to run to get to plug in the battery, so it doesn't go without. Anyway, guys, it feels so strange today. It's maybe close to that time of the month for me, but it's very humid and kind of gloomy. It is. I don't know if you feel this. I've seen many of your comments that say that you feel the same. It does not feel like summer. I mean, it feels like summer in the sense that it's pretty gross, but something is just so dark. It feels like that. So I'm gonna get my crystal here. So let's. I've enjoyed doing the showing to you, and I realize you guys liked it. The pyramid, okay, and maybe I'll just do it every time fresh, okay, so that we can clear at the beginning. All right, so let me go for it. So visualize yourself inside a light pyramid shape. See yourself inside the pyramid so that the pyramid is big enough that it will cover your entire body. I tend to visualize myself laying down, okay? And when you are inside this pyramid, you can start by sending light directly onto the pyramid because this light that goes into the pyramid is going to go directly to you. It's just a method that I've been using in the last few days. And you can use that for anyone. You can place someone in the pyramid. It could be news, it could be anything negative, so that, or anybody that you want to send good energy to and such. Okay. All right. So let's see. Um, okay. So place ourselves there. And then lately, I actually was texting Karina today. I've realized that everything is about clearing, cleansing at this time because it's really something is really weighing all of us down. I feel like, and you have to do a lot of work to clear it because it's a thing. It feels very real, doesn't it? So, okay, so let's send it energy to everyone that's listening, anyone who wants to surround themselves in this light, and anything that feels extreme, anything that feels intense. Okay. Keep sending the light until you feel this intensity diminish, until you reach a point of balance. And if you still feel anything weighing you down, it could be something from your past, it could be something that's you've been thinking about that's stressing you out, right? Just this. Okay, so, all right. And once you feel cleared, welcome the thought that aligns with your heart and soul at this moment. So, again, I think really the most important part is really just sending all the energy to this pyramid so that you're helping clear because you don't necessarily even need to have a superseding thought or something else to add. All you really need is to clear because it's so heavy out there. Okay, so and when you feel like when it feels lighter inside this pyramid, then you know you have achieved a goal. Okay, when you feel like you have reached a state of balance. Okay, and I'm ramping all of this. I'm putting all the people that are targets of ICE or anyone really in the midst of the tragedies in Texas, anyone who feels helpless at this moment, anyone who feels overwhelmed. Because at this moment of true tragedy and true stress, the peace that we have to find is inside of us, right? That's the one thing that is reliable, that is there always, right? So bring the dark news, propaganda, etc., into the pyramids, light pyramids, so it's demagnetized. Ask spirit to show you the light driven outcome instead. So let's do this actually with, for example, the like the alligator Alcatraz concept. Okay, so I'm gonna put this alligator Alcatraz concept inside this light pyramid. So that any and everything that is lower than the highest energy is immediately removed. As this was actually really interesting because it was really interesting as I put this the concept right, and you can always tell when something is dark because of the amount of fear surrounding it. And I saw that all those people, uh, DeSantis, Trump, and all those people laughing, wanting immigrants to be tortured and killed. And was it Laura Loomer, her name is? And that what I saw is humanity's darkness and those people wanting to feel important. They feel so low about themselves that only when they can create fear do they feel like their lives are worth something. And I also saw that as I put the light into these fear-inducing images that they create, not only does it weaken their project because not there's nothing right once you put it through the light, nothing escapes the light. There's nothing good in it. All you see are these like nice, these animals and there's some architecture, right? It's not, and it shows you how again the evil that people can choose to become and how small they are. And so again, whenever something you fear something, put it through the light because nothing evil survives the light. And that's when you see that what we're living through are these very small people who want to control us by creating this object of fear that generates fear. Okay, so I showed this last time as well, and it's this pendulum concept from this book called Reality Transsurfing. A pendulum is an external energy looking to distract you from truth and your true self. It is clothed in false power and importance. This book, as I said before, it has something really interesting I hadn't thought about before, hadn't realized before, which is this idea that we should not give importance to anything because these things that society uh, labels as important are based what they call pendulums, and these are distracting energies and entities that make us feel lesser and make us feel afraid and therefore rob us from our own abilities, right? So in order to create change we have to observe what we want as something mundane, and we have to also lessen the idea that some people are better than others, or that right, that fear is also part of this, right? When you think about it, all the evil stuff is scary, and it's not that these things don't objectively cause horrible things to people. They do, but the way to deal with them is not to say, "Oh my God," because then you're only feeding this darkness. The way to do it is to shed the light onto them, the spiritual light, so that it loses its appeal, the glamour of evil, such right. And it shows you how, have you noticed that all the evil people are small and petty? They feel really truly small. Look at Stephen Miller, for example. So when you put these people through the light, their darkness is gone and they just go away. Okay? I feel like the more we could work with that energy, the better we're going to be. All right. So, of course, today the big news is, oh, let's see. Okay, is the fact that uh, after so much controversy and so much propaganda about this, Trump's DOJ decided not to release the whole Epstein client list and to state that he died by suicide. And of course, we know we know that for the longest time, Trump was associated with him, and it's just it honestly is interesting because social media is filled with people quoting and showing the videos of so many Trump associates saying that, oh, we're gonna release this, we're gonna do this and that, and so that's interesting. But interesting. By the way, guys, it's so gross today. The weather is so gross. It's just so I don't know what to say about like it's a really gross situation right now. The weather, that's right. It is summer, but it like I said, it feels gross. Everything is slow. My brain feels very slow. I don't know. But that's that. Let's look at it. Okay, so here's the article. I clicked on it. The Justice Department and FBI concluded they have no evidence that convicted a sex offender and disgraced financier Epstein blackmailed powerful figures, kept a client list, or was murdered, according to a memo detailing findings obtained by Axios. So, okay, now, so anyway, so all these people that were pushing this are now he backtracked, I guess. And the other thing, of course, is Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison exactly for this. So it's just a little, a little strange here. And I'm not going to read into this. It doesn't necessarily matter, right? Conservative figures panned the disclosure, saying it lacked new information. This is not what the American people asked for. And I thought it was really interesting because now I told you guys I follow these like Russian accounts. Alexander Dugin, and the really fascist, horrible person. But even he was like, "Oh, the American people don't believe this." So it's something. So I would like to know what happened, right? I mean, again, it's not that it's just that they were really all the way. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna release this. We're gonna release this." And someone I talked to somebody today and they asked me, so why didn't Biden release it? Because I think all of this was under seal. It was related to some case. I don't think it was something that a president needs to get involved in anyway. So so this is a reality. Now let's ask what happens. Why? What happened? And obviously, as we know, this government is all about what Trump wants, right? He approves everything. So he's the king, according to them. So what is, and it's funny, I see George Washington, no girl, he's no king, no king. But in their minds, right? So obviously Trump was the one who made it happen. And I'll show you today, of course, that Elon Musk has said that has now come out against it, even though there's pictures of him with Ghislaine Maxwell. So, but let's see here. What is going on? What is the story? What happened here? I see that she had a meeting with Trump, somebody close to Trump, I think for Trump really, Pam Bondi did. And she showed him, she actually went through the pages and she was going to cut out these parts that he was involved in. But she said, well, but President Trump, your name is here. There's a lot of instances where his name was there. And she asked, how do we phrase this? Because it's going to look a little weird. We're going to have to black this out. And he said, you know what? Whatever. We just say that there's nothing there. Just pretend like it doesn't happen because it didn't happen. Because as we know, when you dig just a little deeper, you'll see that it's there. And I saw that Trump now it's I think it's as a consequence of how far he's come with his crimes and his dementia. He thinks that he can just erase history, and so he thinks that it's better to have nothing, right, than to have something that will always end up being litigated. And by being litigated, I don't mean this in the legal sense. I mean people are going to continue to talk about it, right? So I just talked about over and over again. So he wants to pretend like it never happened, because let's get real, guys. I never forgot the day at bar. And by the way, there was a part of that was conspiracy theory. And Barr never went to see Jeff Epstein directly, but somebody obviously went in there, and the guy and the hyoid board, the bone, when people get asphyxiated, that brain bone breaks, and it showed that the bone was broken. So that's that. Okay, so anyway, so that's that. So that's the reason. Now, why is MAGA so upset, right? Why is there propaganda why are these propaganda people upset? Even apparently, Alex Jones, and Alex Jones is obviously a Russian asset, right? He goes to their, seminars, goes there and meets whatever the guy that everybody likes to put. Peter, what's the name of that guy? Jeffrey Sachs was there. Alex Jones was there. The latest conference with the Kremlin, economic future or something. So all these people that go to these conferences with the Kremlin, they are right Russian assets. So they're there. Oh, I can't believe they're going to release this. What the hell? So he's saying this is central to their narrative. Oh, okay. Their narrative of the pedophiles, because and this is, you may know about this, about the concept of SEO. When you search a website, these terms are like, if there's a lot of content, like let's say for example, there's a content that Trump is connected to Epstein, and Epstein is a pedophile, right? When you want to create doubt, you create a lot of content, and people start talking about it, to start posting comments saying, is this true? The same thing with those cloud, whatever it was, like they want to create terms that confuse people, so that when the actual news comes out, it will be undiscernible. Right, so that's what I'm understanding. There is an aspect of a lot of powerful people that have to do with that. But so in some ways, it's better for them to keep that in the conversation, so that when it actually comes out who the people are, or whatever it is, and I'm not even talking about Epstein himself, I'm talking about in general, then they can say, oh, it was this, it was that, it was like, right? So it's saying that the whole thing is all about accusing others of the things we did. So if it's not posted, then it's whatever comes out will be a little too clear. Okay. So anyway, so it's saying that even the Russians, they want it to continue. They're pushing for it. Even they're pushing a law to talk about it, because they want the population to always have that expectation. Okay, so let's go to the next. And so this is now more headlines here. We can see that let's see. Lincoln Project trolling JD Vance, and here you see from 2024 and then 2021. JD Vance trolling, using this as a, oh my God, oh this or that. And then you see it to the right here, you see Elon Musk creating this meme about, oh, they made a big deal about it, now it's not published. So what is going on here? Okay, what is going on with, so let's talk about, so what about JD Vance and his whole, what about JD Vance and him pushing? So I see, interesting, he shows me an image of him on a river, meaning he just swims on whatever propaganda river he's on, and this was what was on the talking points list, and that's what he was talking about. Now it's no longer the talking points list, and he's not talking about it, although I do see him being interviewed. I mean, talking about vision here. All right, somebody asks him about it. He's, oh, that's something you must ask President Trump. I'm not familiar with the details around that, because they don't want to be seen by the base as being accomplices, because the base is really upset, it looks like a lot of people are. um I think we have to, Trump should not be president is the bottom line here. The Epstein list existing or not, it doesn't make a big, what I mean, it's not the big, like, it is a horrible thing, I'm sure, but and it shows how bad he is, but we need everything to be released about all his crimes, especially the ones he has done while he's the president, right? I mean, the guy is a criminal. He's a horrible person, but there we are. Okay. So And I know, by the way, I shouldn't have said that because I think it, YouTube can pick up on those words. But anyway, so let's go. Let's continue. Okay, let's continue. So why now? Let's see. Why is Elon Musk suddenly, let's see, why is he suddenly saying that? He said yesterday, right? That something like, oh, Trump, the reason why he's not releasing it is because his name was on it. But so was his, I'm sure he has something to do with this too, right? He's associated with Ghislaine. So what is going on here with Elon Musk, and why is he saying this? Because he wants to take, I see, like, say, he's obsessed with taking Trump down. So, so that's the story, right? He decided that he's going to get his revenge, and he's not. Like I said, it was interesting, right, guys? Because when it first started, when he first stopped, I said he's going to come back, and there he is, and he's not stopping it. Okay, he's not stopping it. So, let's continue here. So, I wanted to show you this article. It's a really, really interesting article. The man who wrote this is called Dave Troy, and he is one of the most important people when it comes to researching the whole libertarian, techno-fascist Russia connection. So I'm going to read a lot of it. I know some of you, I'm going to try to send this, to add the link here so you could read it and share it. So as Trump fails to deliver, Russia looks to Musk's American Party for leverage. So I said before that as much as they are powerful, right? They got what they wanted to a degree. They're going through a lot over there. They need money. They need to destroy the U.S. as fast as possible. And Elon Musk, in some ways, is more. It's hard to believe it, but it feels like I can't believe I'm saying this because it's so Russians like what he's doing, and they're putting their weight on him. So, okay, while Donald Trump has shown deference to the Putin regime, Moscow is turning to Musk to help close the gap on their most important policy goals. We have prepared a more comprehensive overview addressing angles that other outlets have missed. This is what we know so far. One, it's about controlling Congress, not the presidency. Musk isn't focused on presidential races right now. He's focused on Congress, writing on X. Backing a candidate for president is not out of, let me just see if I can make it really big, is not out of the question, but the focus for the next 12 months is on the House and the Senate. His perception is that Republicans are too pliable and too easily swayed by groupthink. His goal is to break the back. Oh, it's a little wet, I guess. Anyway, his goal is to break the back of the groupthink by controlling the thin majority spread in both houses. So, for example, Thomas Massie opposed the law and claimed to have other temples who aligned with him. Musk's goal is to give Massie real leverage in the future. Okay. Number two, it's about Russia and the national debt. Musk's singular focus has been the U.S. national debt and the debt ceiling, which also aligns with Russia's top policy priority, ending U.S. dollar hegemony. This also aligns with a long-time libertarian obsession with eliminating deficit spending, which is what drove Massey and some others to oppose the recent BBB legislation. Musk, Putin, and Dugin may have thought they sunk a hole in one with Trump's election last November, but 6 months in, he's simply not delivering on enough of their agenda. With that in place, he may have leverage to effect other measures desired by the Russia libertarian axis, ending the fad of fixation of Ron Paul and Thomas Massie, transitioning to Bitcoin and other crypto schemes, and dramatically shrinking US military expenditures, moves that all directly benefit Russia. So here it's saying that it's not really going to work here. It doesn't really work in the US. They have more than two parties, and it's not going to work. From the start, he has chosen to differentiate his efforts from those of lowline Republicans. Okay. In this way, the American Party is more akin to the Justice Democrats than the Reform or Libertarian parties. It is a signifier of a specific ideological alignment, rather than a commitment to a fully realized political party. Now, the part is also really super interesting to us here is number 4, Russia is done with Trump and ready for the next phase. Social media accounts purported to belong to fascist geopolitical theorist Alexander Dugin and Russian political operative Artem Klyushin have been flashing red with signals that they are displeased with Donald Trump and the BBB legislation and are ready for new leadership in the US. The Dugin account has relegated Trump to the past tense while offering effusive praise of Musk, while Klyushin has offered a full-on framework for the American Party that is aligned with Musk's public statements, mirroring language about targeting a narrow set of congressional races. While there is no way to verify whether these accounts are operated by their namesakes, the sentiments expressed by the accounts align with other messaging from Russian state media, and many believe Klyushin has been collaborating with Musk for several years, right? Of course. Perot, a Reform Party, right? Ross Perot. Okay. Musk is a frontman and he has a posse. While it's certainly true that Musk has poor instincts for retail politics, he's fronting a network of geopolitical interests. State actors can purchase vast amounts of Tesla stock to bolster his leverage as necessary, and he seems to be aligned with Russian and Chinese policy goals towards the United States. Now, this is crucial. He is aligned with Russian and Chinese policy goals towards the United States. Okay. Billionaire Mark Cuban and Andrew Yang, who's basically a slut for anybody who's paying, right? He's a political slut. So, right, okay. So that's the situation, guys. This is a really, really interesting, very in-depth article, and so that's the story here. Let me actually turn off because my phone just rang. I don't know if it's coming. All right, okay. So anyway, so here we are. Trump has now damaged good amongst his prior supporters, especially in Russia, as Alexander Dugin said. Trump has hijacked irreversibly. New page of American history is turned over, but they are 3.5 years ahead. So many things can happen in the meanwhile. So that's that's the situation. So let's ask. So right, so I think this really gives a very in-depth view of what's going on, and it's very precise. So let's ask questions. So the first question, let's see. I'm gonna get Epps. Let's see. So the first question to ask is whether Elon Musk is going to succeed. And as you know, guys, I have a practice of getting more information, but asking somewhat similar questions, because the questions in the situation that we're living through have to do with, Trump leaving, right? So we get more, the more information we get, the more specific the questions become, which is always good for us, right? So let's see here. Will Musk be able to achieve his political goals? Okay, so is that like right? Those goals he has just stated up there. Now that he's very anti-Trump, so guys, the protection. I did the period. Let's do the protection that I'm asking. This that I had not really put down the protection and everything. So I'd like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I fill my lungs as I breathe out, a greater circle, a greater circle. I step into it, I step into it. I feel protected, I feel connected. I'd like to ask that information come only from the highest sources that create the good and all the goodness of it. Okay, so Will must be able to achieve his political goals. Okay, interesting. I see him on a stage and he's blah, 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 and then he falls. So, no, he's talking. And it's funny, I see the face of Durgin and the Russians in general, those powerful Russians, and they are pushing him to the edge. I don't know that they're pushing him to the edge on purpose necessarily. They just want their goals to be achieved no matter what because they're desperate. But as he becomes, he's being manipulated, right? Like I think he is, of course, like hard to control, but that doesn't mean that he's not being manipulated to a degree or that he's not being given they're not suggesting things to him directly or indirectly. So okay, so why is it that if he's not able to achieve his goals, why is it that he's not able to achieve the goals? See him talking, people tugging at his shirt, and then he sees that he's right at the edge of the precipice. And I see he's like, no, listen. He tells the Russians, I have to go, let me go to the restaurant, be right back. And he runs away from them. Because right, they're willing to do anything to anybody, sacrifice anybody. And we also so there's news every day, right? How they, some Russian falls from a building. Just recently there was news that he's arresting one of his closest oligarchs because what he really does is that he takes their money. They're billionaires. Well, you used to be a billionaire, now you know, because I'm taking your money right now. And he's done that to many of them, even the ones that are close to him, because Russia is collapsing financially. So right, he knows, he must know. So he's saying he will see. It may be that, and that's why I still see him having to go to Kamala because it's the last resort. It's him confessing and trying to figure out a way. I don't know how it's going to be, guys. I don't think we should worry about the exact details because the situation is crazy enough. So, but that's what I see. The Russians are like these devils pushing him. Yeah, let's go to the edge. Let's go to the edge. No, we can do it. We can do it. And then he realizes it's almost over. Okay. So, okay. So the question is no, in other words. And okay. Okay. We have to ask these questions. They're sort of obvious that have been kind of addressed by the article, but why are our Russians? Trump, and why is it that they haven't done anything, right? Stop Trump. I mean about releasing something. So I'm saying something serious. Are they letting him get away with it? What's the story? Okay. So why are Russia so unhappy with Trump, and why is it that they haven't done anything to stop him? Meaning, releasing. If they're saying this, oh, it tells me Rosie, it's just the beginning. They're going to do more, yes, and they're saying we're going to exert as much. I think we're going to exert as much pressure as possible because they're desperate, and to them it's the last. It's like the last big battle. They have to get this done. They have to crush America, really. Okay. Interesting. And then I see John McCain eating popcorn. He's like, let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. It's a battle. It really is a battle. So, wow. So, how far this America party dedicated, right? Dedicated Chinese geopolitical interests, by the way, right? How far will this America party dedicated to Russian and Chinese geopolitical interests, by the way? Go. Today is July 7th. No, I see that Musk is again, I think at some point in the near future, he realizes he's been used and he realizes the only way out is that's why I feel like, come on. So what happens? What's going to happen, as Logan said? Uh, how far? It just shows me honestly a couple months, if that much. So what will Trump do? Again, and I'm not, guys. I think I've talked about it yesterday, but with this new information, it's important. How what will Trump try and stop? So what will Trump do to try and stop Musk? Cutting this, that's right, cutting the subsidies. And I think he may do, honestly, I think may go as far as even wanting to take some of his money. Like he's gonna want a huge bribe of like almost $1 billion. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, all right. So let's. I think we have to ask this question here. The article said that we actually grab from here. The rush. Okay, Russia's. So will Russia achieve through Musk or Trump the goal of ending the dollar hegemony? Okay, so and by the way, I know some people have said, "Oh, it's crazy." I think they're truly funny. I don't think it's made up. I don't think it's made up. I think it's true for the reasons that we have already talked about. They have very big egos. They have different agendas, and Elon Musk has his big companies to support. Even though I think the value of the companies has much to do with speculation than reality, but still, okay. All right. So again, will Russia achieve through Musk or Trump the goal of ending the dollar hegemony? I see this like bump, shake up, but then it goes back on again because there is no real alternative. And the other question, are they going to be able to destroy the Fed? Because that's the libertarian and the Russian fantasy of destroying essentially the American economic system. No, they're like, ha ha, ha, no. And I see again the face of Jamie Dimon of Chase, JP Morgan Chase, and he says, no, he somehow I keep seeing, I tell you, I'm intervening because it's a real thing. They want to destroy the American banking system. Right? They want to bankrupt the country, but I don't think they will be able to do that. And then I see the military in the background, so that's where we are. So, and I see then in the future, the headlines or the history books will say when America came very close to collapse, and I don't want to say, and it was, I don't think it was saved. It was like I think it was saved, but it came back up. But it took, right. It's like a second American Revolution, essentially. What have to do, in a way or another. So that's right, because it's saying there those people are never going to be like, oh, I just suddenly became very moderate and thought let's just go stick to. They don't want to make things safe. Their whole point, honestly, whether it's Musk or this guy or Trump, they want to destroy the system. So okay, but it's saying we're going to just in the end it will be them who will be destroyed, right? Their system is going to collapse, and we're rebuilding. We're going to rebuild soon, but it's like a collective nightmare. It's like a movie, right? It's such a nightmare. So, well, that's it. Okay, let's see if there's the last thing I saw this is that there was a recognition of Rep. Mark Green leaving Speaker Johnson with an even narrower Republican majority in the House. So that's really interesting. Of course, he's quitting. I feel like it's saying he does not want to live with the reality of this bill. So, all right, how's the Homeland Security Committee chair? So what is happening? And he's like, no, he's like, I feel like he sees there's opportunities for me and they can make more money outside of the Congress. I don't want to deal with this S show, right? So So that's the reality. And what's going to, I see that uh, Mike Johnson gets more and more nervous. And I see that they have this, I, sorry, this, this mess to deal with, but it will go. And I see this Mike Johnson as he tries to get to the finish line with anything. It's like bits and parts of bodies or something. But increasingly, it's total chaos in the government, right? Until Trump is removed. So that's where we are. But again, guys, as awful as it is, the situation that we're dealing with, in a way it has to happen for anybody who still believes in this to wake up. To the cost of so many. But that's that. It's so that the whole thing is going to be destroyed because it went too far. So, okay, so that's it, guys. It is so humid. I don't like to have. I have air conditioning on, but it's not too high, but it is very, very uncomfortable, and it's been very humid and very dark today. So let's continue. Let's do, clear, please, Spirit, clear us, give us strength to face another day. All right, so see you tomorrow. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.